we've never been given the opportunity to own the infrastructure layer and own it before the institutions. I always talk about this. We're front running the institutions. And it's not like it's some mass illusion or delusion. I know it because I speak to them all day. They're all coming. All the investors are coming, and we get the privilege for the first time in our lives to own this, because everything else is VC. Early stages VC. To invest in VC, you need to be an accredited investor. Not only that, but most VC funds won't take you unless you've got a certain amount of capital. So it just knocks everybody out of the actual largest part of the economic pie that gets made. And then eventually something goes public and only a few of those companies make a lot of money. So we're so disadvantaged as ordinary people. We're first.
In this video interview with Real Vision's CEO and billionaire investor Raoul, he discusses why he's both long-term and short-term bullish on cryptocurrency and blockchain tech. He starts by discussing his time frame for global crypto adoption, which he compares to internet adoption. He explains that in the early days of the internet, it was clunky, and it took years for it to become the seamless global interconnection of networks we all know today. He explains that crypto is in a similar place now, and that as time goes on, cryptocurrency will eventually be integrated into our lives in a way that is completely invincible to the average user. Aside his long-term conviction, he also talks about why he's short-term bullish and gives predictions for the next few months. Let's dive right into the video.
So when I got into Bitcoin 2012-13, I just said, oh, the entire financial system is going to go on blockchain rails. Here we are, 2023, and we're starting to see it. Okay, that took a long time, but it was absolutely...
We're still not really there.
No, but it's just starting. We're seeing Franklin Templeton have created the money market fund that's on chain. That RWA, real world asset thing, is like, it's the big trend. Whether that happens in this cycle or not fully, no, probably not. So the trend is right, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about what you're living in today. Our job is to live in the future.
I'm being too logical about it almost in some
Yes,
ways.
you need to live in the future and not the present. Because the present, the price is a liar, because it doesn't, you're always looking at the present when you need to understand the future, and that is the growth you'll extrapolate out. And if you aim for that and then look backwards, you kind of understand it better. It's kind of a weird world, but people are like, well, where's this, where's that, where's that? It's still coming, and it's so early. It's a typical one of those bell curve memes where you can be the moron on the left
Or
and the genius on the right. It's both.
Yeah.
We are so early, and that means just keep doing it. In my 20s, we had dial-up modems, and it was a nightmare. Couldn't download anything, nothing worked. It's like, well, how's this internet? This is just frustrating. Just send me a fax. It's easier, you know. And the technologists were saying, no, you don't understand, because we need broadband and that's coming, and we got this and that's coming, and we need compute power and that's coming. I'm like, well, I don't see it.
So far, Raoul has explained how crypto is similar to the internet, and now he'll move on to answer the question of there being nothing to do on the blockchain now compared to the early days of the internet.
If he had been given the opportunity to own a broadband network, or he'd been given opportunity to own the infrastructure rails for the web, he'd have thought about it in different terms. This is what this is. It's like, we've never been given the opportunity to own the infrastructure layer and own it before the institutions. I always talk about this. We're front running the institutions, and it's not like it's some mass illusion or delusion. I know it because I speak to them all day. They're all coming. All the investors are coming, and we get the privilege for the first time in our lives to own this, because everything else is VC. Early stages VC. To invest in VC, you need to be an accredited investor. Not only that, but most VC funds won't take you unless you've got a certain amount of capital. So it just knocks everybody out of the actual largest part of the economic pie that gets made. And then eventually something goes public and only a few of those companies make a lot of money. So we're so disadvantaged as ordinary people. We're first.
So far, Raoul has spoken about why he's long-term bullish and how he believes we're incredibly early to the party. Next, he turns his attention to shorter time frames and predicts what crypto, stocks, and the macroeconomy will do over the next few months. Let's look at more clips from the interview.
I think the NASDAQ finishes this year at all-time highs. I think the S&P gets to all-time highs. So Q4 for me is the weaker period. That's when the recession comes in. So that's when we've already heard today, really, all the Fed were out saying, we've done enough. Bond market's gone too far. The bond market's overpricing this. Things like Janet Yellen saying today, really interesting comment. She said, well, when we think about it, financing the debt is going to be about 1% of GDP for the next 10 years. Well, if the government's 100% of GDP in debt, she's basically saying interest rates have to be 1%, which is part of this everything code thesis I've had. So what I'm seeing is liquidity starting to pick up. I think they will stop quantitative tightening this year. And then with it's a bit complicated here, but the Treasury have been issuing new stuff. So that's the TGA build, but that probably slows down. But the reverse repo, which is the other part of the liquidity stuff, start draining, and that probably pushes liquidity. If they take QT out, it just means liquidity rises. So generally speaking, crypto is the multiplier. So if I look at the Nasdaq's up 38%, Bitcoin's up 70%. So if the Nasdaq finishes the year up 48% or something like that, which would be a hell of a year for the Nasdaq, well, Bitcoin should finish up 100% plus. So this is macro spring and crypto spring. The cycles are actually the same thing. The Bitcoin halving actually just relates to the macro cycle.
Raoul's message can be summarized as bullish. In this video, he has explained the reason for his long-term conviction and also provided bullish, short-term predictions. It would seem the crypto community is in for a treat, both long-term and short-term. Raoul's comparison of crypto to the internet provides a unique insight and perhaps some level of comfort about the current situation in crypto. He also highlights some potential use cases for blockchain tech and NFTs that he believes will force adoption. All considered, Raoul believes there's absolutely no reason not to be bullish. What do you think about Raoul's long-term predictions? To see the latest in crypto news, watch this video here.